Good morning, Cougs. Lindsey Barkley here with Performance Nutrition over in athletics. Todd, Barbour, and I are excited to be here with y'all this morning. Going to share a little bit about what we've been doing with our athletes during this time and also give you some home nutrition and home exercise tips to keep you going during this challenging time. From a nutrition standpoint, we have a couple challenges that are definitely going to arise while we are working from home, working remotely. I'm going to go through those a little bit as I'm showing you guys how to make a really awesome pre-workout recipe that our athletes love. So a lot of us are working out at home, maybe able to go for runs, go for walks, or be lucky enough to have some equipment in our house to be able to do some training from home. So what I'm going to do is show you an awesome pre-workout recipe that you can do that's not going to have a ton of calories, because definitely we need to be aware of how much we're taking in right now since we're not as active as we would be during our normal work days. So these are energy bites. We use these all the time with our athletes, and a lot of our athletes are making these at home right now while they're doing their training from afar. Energy bites are a quick, simple way to get some carbohydrates, which are our energy for our training. They look like this in their finished form, really small, but gonna give you what you need to power through those workouts. So if you're getting up and going for a morning run, we definitely recommend getting your hydration in, about 8 to 16 ounces of fluids before you head out, and then just a little carbohydrate to keep you going. So this morning, we're gonna make our energy bites. They're very versatile. You can really add anything you would like to them. This morning, we're gonna do our coconut version of our energy bites. These are one of the athletes' favorites. Of course, they also love when we put chocolate chips or cocoa powder in it because peanut butter and chocolate, of course, are delicious. So the base of our energy bite is just oats. So I have rolled oats here. It's 1.5 cups of rolled oats. Now you could use quick oats if you wanted. I definitely wouldn't recommend using steel cut oats, so they're gonna give it a little bit more crunch than you would like. Really the difference between an instant and a roll and a steel cut oat is just in how they are processed and how they're going to be digested in your body. So of course, quick oats, gonna digest super quickly. A rolled oat and a steel oat gonna give you a little bit more sustained energy. So pre-workout, we want that sustained energy to get through our training. Next, I have just a teaspoon of cinnamon. You could definitely add more, or you could omit your cinnamon if you're not a cinnamon fan. Next, we're gonna add shredded coconut. So this is where the versatility of this recipe comes in. I could definitely add cocoa powder. I could add some chia seeds or some flax seeds for some additional healthy omega-3 fats, but I could also go the other direction and add some chocolate chips and make these really delicious. They're delicious already without the chocolate chips as well. So now I have peanut butter. It's about 1.25 cups of peanut butter. You could use any peanut butter you would like. We had some creamy Adams on hand, but if you have Jif, if you have any other peanut butters, go for it. Peanut butter is a common question that we get. What peanut butter should I buy? Of course, as a dietitian, we love to see foods that are shorter on the ingredient list. So if you can find an Adams or something with the ingredients being peanuts and salt, definitely gonna prefer that, but any peanut butter will work here and give you some of those healthy fats. Next, our binder, we need something sticky, so this is gonna be honey. If we have a strictly vegan athlete, or if any of you are strictly vegan and don't consume honey, we could definitely use an agave here or a brown rice syrup that you have on hand. Really, we just need something sticky to bind these together. The easiest way to get your energy bites to come together is just to get in there with your hands. Our staff love doing this part. You get to get super messy. So what we're gonna do is just mix all of our ingredients together. And then once combined, we're just gonna roll them into balls. So of course the size of your ball does matter. If we're going with too big, then we might be getting a little bit more than we bargained for before our workout, and then too small might not give us the energy that we're looking for. So what we're looking for is about a tablespoon size ball, and then we're just gonna roll them together. Stick them on your parchment paper or on your saran wrap, and then you're gonna put them in the fridge or freezer and let them sit for about 30 minutes before they're ready to go. We like to make a big batch of these on the weekend and then put them in little individual bags and grab them before we head out for our morning workout. So Cougs, a little pre-workout recipe for you. Todd Barbour is gonna take you through an awesome workout, and then we will end together with a recovery smoothie to recover from that workout.
Hey everybody, good job, Linz. Hey Linz, there's a couple questions that came up about how much coconut, how much honey.
Yeah, those are great questions. We're gonna post this recipe on our Instagram. It's at WSU Cougar Nutrition, but it's a 1/4 cup of coconut, a teaspoon of cinnamon, 1.5 cups of oats, and then you have that 1 1/3 cup of peanut butter. So I'll go ahead and post that recipe on our Instagram for you all to make at home.
Awesome. Thank you. And I will attest, those are unbelievable, and our athletes devour them when they come in on Monday, Tuesday mornings, and yeah, they love those. So Lindsey and her staff do an amazing job. Thanks everybody for having us on here. We're excited to be here and get out of our normal routine, which is abnormal right now. Wasn't sure which direction to take this. Just everybody's training age and everything else. I thought I would share a workout that we do with our athletes. Actually, this was one that we worked on last night and sent it out to our volleyball team. With our athletes being off campus and not being able to train, it's a very difficult time for us and them, especially our fall sport athletes. We have no idea what we're going to get when they do come back, so we're very concerned about injury rates going up. I know all of you guys work with college athletes, college students in general, so you can just look at it this way. So on a team, any given team, so let's just make up a team, say lacrosse, which we don't have, but so just say we have a lacrosse team. So we're sending out workouts to this team every single week with running, with conditioning, agility, speed work, and resistant work. So you send it out, we can't monitor it. We have no idea what they have to work with for the most part. A third of the team is going to do everything we ask them to do and more. There will be a third of the team that does just enough to maybe work up a sweat here and there. And a third of the team isn't going to do anything. And that's just college athletes. That's the way they are. So we know that. So this much time off is very scary for us. And we were lucky enough, we were able to send out a bunch of bands to our athletes so they have some type of resistance. Because I would say less than 5% of our student athletes have access to a good garage gym, any type of resistance at all. So, and with elite athletes, it's really hard just to do body weight exercises. They're going to get something out of it for the first couple weeks, and then they're going to totally detrain. So it's really tough, and that keeps me up at night not knowing what our athletes are going to look like when they come back. So here's a couple of the bands. I don't know if you guys can see them. These are mini bands that we sent to all of our athletes. We sent them a pack. We got these from Perform Better. You can see there's a bunch of companies that have these. We use these for a bunch of lower body exercises, especially for the glutes and the post chain, the glutes, the hamstrings, lower back, which is a huge emphasis for us to hit. So we sent out a bunch of mini bands, and then we have super bands, and they have all kinds of different lengths. This is the smallest one that we sent out for upper body and lower body work. And this is one of the thicker bands that we sent out. Again, we got them from Perform Better. It just gives us some type of resistance for when we do certain exercises. So I'm going to try to share my screen. Bear with me. I've never done this before. Hopefully it works. Oh. It did. Awesome. So again, this is something that we sent out to our volleyball team. Walking through day one. So they have certain exercises that each of our athletes do every single day. They're called the EDDs. We put those right up on top. There are exercises that after doing a movement screen on them and an eval, we found out that they are deficit in. So for the most part, it's hip and below exercises that they need to do. A lot of glute, a lot of hamstring work. And then with our volleyball athletes, they have a lot of shoulder stability and impingement issues as well. So we hammer both, all EDD drills. Some kids will have 10 exercises they have to do every single day before they work out. Some might only have 5. Okay, so that's on top of the sheet there. Day one, it's a lift, so we have band squats. And actually, we send a link to our student athletes that we found on YouTube that kind of gives a good explanation of the band squat. We don't do band squats in our weight room, so our athletes haven't really done this, but we do a ton of squats, and it just shows how to set up the band. Or if they have a dumbbell or a kettlebell, which with our volleyball team, a lot of our athletes have kettlebells, which is awesome for us. So we said band squat or the goblet squat. And it's 3 times 10. It's kind of a higher volume that our athletes are normally working in. We don't do a whole lot of 10s and 12s and 15s with our volleyball team. And then with that, we have the split stance TKE, terminal knee extension. That's one of their EDD drills. That's to help build up the musculature around that knee to help prevent injuries, especially ACL injuries. And that's why we do a ton of the glute work with them as well. So they have those together. They do 3 sets, cycle them through one after the other. Then they move on to the 2s. The 2s, we got a pause band squat. So they drop down to the bottom of their squat, pause, 1001, 1002, 1003, and they fire up as fast as they possibly can. So it's either with the band or the goblet, the weight. And a goblet squat, you're going to hold the kettlebell or the dumbbell right against your chest, elbows in tight, so the weight's in front of you, so it acts as a counterbalance. Plus, it helps keep that spine in a neutral position. So you're not going to round at the back. You can't really do that when you're holding something in the goblet position. So we want shoulder blades down and back. We want the dumbbell, kettlebell right here in front of you, and you're going, as deep as you can on our squats. So with that, we're going to pair squat jumps. So we're doing a pause. It's a very dynamic exercise. Day one's usually a dynamic day, something that we want something very explosive. So we're doing our pause, band, or goblet squats, and we're doing squat jumps. Moving on from there, we're hitting the upper body, upper torso, musculature of the shoulders, the upper back, the delts, the chest. So that's why we're doing GUPU, G-U-P-U, athletes back at Arkansas. I was at Arkansas for 12 years in the same position, and I just didn't want to spell out ground up push up. So I just put ground up push up acronym, and then our athletes started calling them GUPUs. So they got GUPUs, 3 sets of 6, so ground up push ups, lying dumbbell press. And then we have a band pull apart. And with a band pull apart, they're using that red band that we gave them, that we sent out to them. Moving on from there, we got some band, single arm rows or dumbbell or kettlebell rows, hitting the back, that post chain. We got mini bands, in and outs. It's a foot speed work. It's a foot speed drill. You put the band around your ankles and you move basically like you're doing a jumping jack with your lower body, and you go as fast as you possibly can. Superman is for the lower back, and then we call it booty work. It's 3 different exercises that hit your hips and your glutes and your hamstrings. And they do each of those exercises for a minute straight. So usually it's a 3-minute drill, and after they do that, man, they feel it. So, and at the end of every workout that we send our athletes, we have a finisher, and it's kind of metabolic conditioning that we do. They go through that finisher as fast as they possibly can. And so when we're together as a team, we know how fast they're moving, and we kind of control that pace. When they're at home, it's 100% up to them. So we want them to push as fast as they possibly can, get through there. They should be completely finished and drenched with sweat when they're done with this workout, especially after doing the finisher. So moving on from there, we do have our workouts in there, our conditioning workouts in there as well. We have day 1, we have day 2 of conditioning, and they're mostly drills that we do repeated, like shuttle or line drills. If any of you ran line drills as a high school or junior high basketball player, you go free throw line back, half court back, free throw line back, half court or full court back. It's kind of like that, but it's for volleyball, so it's in a shorter space. And every drill is kind of different. We throw in a lot of plyometrics. Obviously, they're explosive athletes, and we got to be able to get vertical. So we do a lot of vertical plyometric work. And then we just push them conditioning-wise out of their comfort zone. Now, volleyball, any given round, any given point could be 1 to 8 seconds. So it's not very long. So our athletes are built. They're very anaerobic. They're very explosive. We do like to test that cardio and the aerobic threshold for our athletes, however. So moving on to our day 2 lift, it's a more of a volume day for us. We got body weight split squat. We got EQIs. EQI stands for eccentric quasi isometric.
You could talk about volleyball strength and conditioning.
So with the EQI, they're going to go down into a lunge position with their back knee off the ground, and their front leg, whatever their front leg is at about a 90-degree angle. Their back knee is off the ground about an inch, 2 inches, and they hold that squat, they hold that position for 30 seconds. And right after that 30 seconds is up, now they go up and down into a split squat. They go up and down, touching their back knee on the ground, all the way up to a stand in a lunge position for 10 reps on each leg. Now, just holding that squat, that split squat for 30 seconds is a bear. I mean, it's a lot of time under tension for our athletes, and then to have to do an actual exercise right after that really gets them. So the time under tension of the work, so they got 30 seconds of a hold and then 10 reps each leg, each time. They're getting a lot of work in. So with that, you see the band TKEs again. Band TKEs we hammer every single day if they're working out or not. And then we just go down the list. We got band rows or dumbbell row or kettlebell row. We're hitting the shoulders again with the I's, T's, and V's. And a lot of our athletes, I would say, on the volleyball team, out of the 11 kids that we had, probably 10 of them have to do I's, T's, and V's for their EDD drills anyways, but we're still going to hit that in the workout. So and then we got hip lift walkouts, which is a post chain exercise, and we have a link on that for our athletes if they don't understand what that is. That's something that we normally don't do in our weight room because we have the tools to hit the post chain, hit the glutes, hit the hamstrings the way we want them to. Now at home, they don't have those tools. So we have to come up with other ways for our athletes to be hammering the post chain. So the hip lift walkouts are phenomenal for that. Moving on, you got the band pull aparts again, which are great. We got abducted hip lift. The abducted hip lift, the bottom of your feet are together, and you let your knees fall out. You let your knees abduct. So you're abducting the hips, letting your knees fall out, and then you just do a hip lift. You drive your feet into the ground, bring your hips up, squeeze your cheeks, and then you relax. So we do hundreds and hundreds of reps of glute work for our student athletes, glute and ham work. With that, again, they have their booty work. They get used to doing the booty work. They do that almost every single workout, or some form of booty work every single workout. Then with that, we have the finisher again. We always have finishers. We ask them to run stairs at their house or hop up the stairs or whatever. So again, the workout is supposed to finish them off, finish the workout off. They should be shot after doing the finisher every single day. Then we got day 2 of the conditioning work. It's a little bit different than day 1. It's shorter. It's more reactive. It's more of agility type training than it is on day 1. The day 3 lift, we got the band or goblet eccentric squat. So eccentric is the lowering of the squat. So if you stand up and you start to go down, that's the eccentric. So we want them to take 5 seconds to get down in the basement. So again, they have the band on their shoulders, or they're holding their weight goblet squat. They get their feet set. They start going down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At 5, they should be in the basement. They're going to pause for 2 seconds, and then they're going to fire up as fast as they can. That's what that 6 sets of 5, then it says 5, 2, 0. That's what that stands for. 5 seconds down, 2 second pause, 0 on the concentric. So you're coming up as fast as you can. That is a lot of time under tension. That's a lot of work. Eccentric work is very difficult, and it's a great way to add variety to your workout at home as well. So you add isometrics, you add eccentrics, that really helps. Next, they have an eccentric step down. Again, very much strengthening the muscles around the musculature around the knee to help prevent injuries. Eccentric, 5 seconds down. What they do, they stand up on a step with one leg hanging off. They go down 5 seconds. At 5, they tap their heel on the ground and they stand right back up. Again, they have the TKEs. Then we're hitting the upper body again. We're doing some pressing, some band press or kettlebell or dumbbell press if they have it. 5-second eccentric again. So they're going to lower the weight. If it's a press, you're going to lower the weight for 5 seconds. Once you get down to 5 or touch your chest, you fire back up as fast as you can. ICs and Vs again hitting that shoulder, and then we got shoulder rotations to work that thoracic spine, that thoracic mobility. Moving on from there, face pulls again. And face pull, you have that band. You're using a kind of the thicker of the super bands. You anchor that to a door or on a wall. And face pull, you're pulling that band. You have both hands, you're pulling that band to your face. So you want to finish with that band right about nose height. And you really squeeze, you push your shoulder blades down and back. It's a great exercise for your upper back and your shoulders and traps. Again, you guys see booty work. The kids, again, they love that booty work. And then we go on to some other post-chain exercise like a hip lift or something like that. So the finisher, we got plyometric, pogos, we got mountain climbers, old school calisthenics. It is old school, but it works really, really well. Band or goblet squat to press. So they're doing a squat, and on the way up, they're going to press straight up in front of them or over their head. And then we have iso hip lift. So you're doing that hip lift, but you're doing one leg at a time. And then iron cross is a core exercise that works the obliques. It's a great, just total core exercise. So that's what our athletes, that's what athletes are going through right now. Every sport is different, but for the most part, I want our teams doing this type of format. We want our teams having a dynamic day, because that's what they would normally do with us in the weight room every single day. We start the week with something dynamic. Dynamic is a moderate to lightweight, and you're moving that weight as fast as you possibly can move it. So you're really working that CNS, getting it all fired up. You're doing a ton of plyometric work. You're doing a ton of throws in our weight room. So when you're there at home, we still want the same type of format, so they're used to doing our workouts. So dynamic day, we want a volume day in the middle, some higher volume work, time under tension. And then we want a max effort day. That's usually our third day. That's usually when we're really loading up the bar and doing something that's really heavy and really pushing it. So we can't really do that at home. So we have to do whatever we can to make that more like our max effort days. So eccentric work really helps with that. So that's what our athletes are looking at, and that's all of our teams. That's all the teams that we follow, or that I'm in charge of. We want dynamic, volume, and max effort. Running and conditioning for the most part. We want days where we're doing stair sprints, stair plyometrics, where you're hopping up the stairs. We want longer days. Let the kids get out and just run. And then we want speed days, because all of our sports are based on speed, every single one of them, except for rowing. They don't do a lot of speed work with their upper body or with their lower body, but it's still something that we want our athletes to do. With that, I would really like to ask if anybody has any questions. And I see a bunch of stuff on the chat. If anybody has any questions about workouts, about what we're doing with our athletes, about what you can do at home to change it up, that's awesome. I'd be glad to answer anything that you guys have. Like I said, adding eccentric work to your daily routine at home can really, really change your workout totally. It'll be a completely different feel. Adding isometric work where you pause, so you're pausing at the bottom of the exercise, and then fire up as fast as you can. That's something that's really going to add a different feel to your workout. And this is a time that we tell our athletes too to try new things, not CrossFit or anything like that, crazy like that, but new things as far as, try yoga out. We don't do that as a team. We like our athletes not necessarily be tight, but tight is fast. If you think of the muscles like they're like a slinky, the muscle spindle's like a slinky. So if all of us, well, some of us remember what a slinky is. So that's kind of what we tell our athletes. So we have a slinky, kind of like a sprain. If you stretch the slinky out, especially the old metal ones, keep stretching, which yoga does, eventually it's not going to come back together. And in order for you to be explosive, the muscle has to contract and expand super quick. So we don't do a whole lot of yoga. We don't do a whole lot of stretching. We want our athletes to be very mobile. That's why we concentrate on the range of motion. But now with this time off, it's a good thing to try. It's a good thing. It's a change for them. I'm trying yoga. I'm over 230 pounds. I am not built to do yoga. Luckily, nobody's here to see me do yoga. I've been doing it for 13 days straight now. And it's killing me. I mean, the yoga is no joke. It is tearing me up. So I just need to do something different. Being over 230 pounds, I'm not built for body weight exercises either. This whole lockout is driving me insane. I need to get in the weight room and work out. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, I'm going to hand you back to Lindsey, who's going to have another great recipe for everybody. I think it's a post-workout recovery type shake. And again, Lindsey and her group are in our weight room. We work hand in hand together. We couldn't do what we do with our athletes without them. They are phenomenal. The recipes they try and everything they do is unbelievable. So I'm going to hand it back off to Lindsey. There you go, Linz.
All right, thanks, Todd. All right, guys, we got our workout in. Now we're going to make sure we recover. So the biggest components of a recovery meal or snack would be carbohydrates and protein. We got to replenish that glycogen that we use to power through our workouts, and then we have to get protein to those working muscles that we just broke down. So I was able to send in the chat our energy bite recipe that we did earlier. Like I said, really versatile. We could swap that coconut out for raisins or chocolate chips. We could do some cocoa powder. And then I was able to share quite a few smoothie recipes. So we were lucky enough to get a donation from Andre Dillard, who plays for the Philadelphia Eagles now, but played here at WSU football. And he sent money to send our athletes care packages. So those are smoothies that we drew up for them to use some of those components of their care package. So we're going to do today a blueberry banana smoothie. We're going to throw in some spinach for some antioxidants and anti-inflammatory properties. So we're always going to start with our smoothie liquid. So this could be regular dairy milk. We use oat milk here because we have some dairy allergies in the house. So almond milk would work, cashew milk would work. Do remember that those milk substitutes aren't going to carry the protein that a regular milk would. So soy milk is going to give you about 7 grams of protein per cup. Regular milk is going to give you about 8. But almond milk, very low, oat milk, very low. So make sure that you're making up for that protein. So for our protein component, we do have some Greek yogurt here. This is just plain Greek yogurt. If you're looking at yogurts, they do come in quite a few different flavors and varieties. Look for about 9 grams or less of added sugar. So labels now are going to start to list added sugar. Important that we can be watching those added sugars going in. So now we're going to do some frozen blueberries. I love frozen fruit in my smoothie. We don't usually use ice. We'll just do the frozen fruit. A frozen banana goes next. So we have the bananas that go bad. We usually chop them up and use them in our smoothies. And then, of course, we have just a handful of spinach here. You really don't even know spinach is in a smoothie. It kind of hides pretty well, but a good way to get some vitamins and minerals, right? So not going to blend this on camera, but we blend it all up. Here's what we get: protein, carbohydrates, and some antioxidants and vitamins and minerals in that recovery smoothie. Gonna help us recover from those workouts. Also could be a great snack that you could drink while you're in a meeting, gonna get some nutrition in. So we appreciate you all tuning in today. Thank you for joining us. We hope you join tomorrow at 10 a.m. and go Cougs.